Fabricator, the animation rig authoring framework. The fastest way to get correctly oriented joints on your character, and with the auto skin tool to get your character fully auto skinned and in engine. I mean, within minutes you can get a character. So I'm going to take you through all the parts of Fabricator. There's a lot here. There's a lot of different concepts that we'll have to get our heads wrapped around, but it's honestly not that hard. And let's just go through them one by one. So let's look at the three main parts of the menu, which is the components, the rig outliner, and the properties. Let's go through the components first. So the components are made up of three different subcategories, and we have the raw components, which are really just Python scripts to build simple rig components, essentially. And this is like the FK component. So this just builds one control on one joint that you can, move around and rotate around. Let's go back. And then, so we have all different types of components. We have FK, just a simple FK. We have FK Advanced, which has space switching and stuff like that built in. FK Aim, which is like the precursor for like the eye, something like that. Follow. We have the follow joint, which is like the IK joints that are good for the Unreal Engine, that are kind of like world space joints that follow the wrist controls. So you can put a follow joint component on there and just automatically follow the wrist. Then we have like simple IK. We have like the IK families, simple IK, IK arms, IK legs, IK quad, like the quadruped leg. And then we have some special components here, which is the ribbon IK arm, the ribbon IK leg, and the ribbon spine, which have all the cool ribbon functionalities of it. And then the most important component of them all, the world component. And that's sort of the root of all the components. Literally the root joint of every rig gets a world component. And that just denotes what is the world or the root joint of the rig. So next we'll move on to limbs. Now limbs get a little more complicated because they're not only just components, but they're also the joints along with them. So for example, the arm will come with like the clavicle, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and all the finger joints. In the limb module, you can add and remove fingers, and it'll detect the fingers, so it'll know, because there's like a special hand control that'll open and close the fingers. So there's ways that it'll detect which are your fingers, and you can set that up all in the properties as well. So limbs are collections of joints with components on them. So for example, like the simple arm will have a FK module on the clavicle. It'll have an IK module on the three joints that make up the arm for the IK, and then it'll have all the FK controls for like the fingers and the weapon joints or prop joints. Same thing with the advanced. Advanced are just the ribbon versions. The simple are just like the regular IKs. And then templates is a full body rig. It's all the joints, it's all the components, it's all the pieces that make a full rig. So you can actually build all these and save all these yourself. So you can build your own components and if you save them in like the Python folder, they'll just work. The tool will just automatically detect them. Same thing with limbs. You can actually like right click a limb and say save limb, and it'll save it in your local project directory. And then same thing with templates. So you can actually build up these pieces. I've included these like simple, like most used pieces basically. But then you can also mix and match and do your own things. For example, like I don't have the quadruped here yet, so you could make that on your own. And then save out the limbs, save out the full template. And what's really beneficial about that is, for example, if you had a character that had different proportions, but had the same skeleton structure, it was a biped, but it had just different proportions. It was shorter, it was maybe wider. You could actually just use the same rig. You can just move the skeleton around, but it would be the same rig, the same naming, everything else is the same functionality, everything else is the same. So you could share animations much easier. And it makes for real game production. That's kind of how you'd want to do it, because you want to be able to share things as much as possible. All right, so I'm just going to show dragging in a simple biped. So I just did a drag and drop from the templates, and we'll just go through all the pieces in the outline. So the outliner is just like our outliner over here, but it's just for joints and the components. And so we'll see here that this template, the simple biped, is made up of these limbs. So we have our spine, simple spine here. We have our simple neck and head here. We have our simple arms. Oh, there's ribbon arms in here. Whoops. I'll have to fix that before ship. And then we have our simple legs down here. And so you've probably noticed as I've been clicking through these, different properties have been shown. So you can click each of these different components and you get different options. And I suggest you go through all the options, you learn the different things. There'll be more information in the docs on the website. So if you really want to go deep on each of these things. But I mean, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of options for like a simple FK, for example. And if you build your own components in Python, you can expose whatever options you want, stuff like that. For example, if you grab the ribbon IK arm, that has a little bit of extra options because there's more cool features. Like you can add and remove twist joints. You can choose what side it is. So that'll tell the system to color it a certain way. You know, left is blue, center is yellow, right is red. You can tell the system what region it is, and it'll autofill these things to the best of its ability. Most of the time it gets it right. But if you ever need to change it, you can always do that. So there's a bunch of options in the properties. Now, if you ever wanted to okay, so let me show you the armature actually. So because we brought in that template, it built the armature. And I go through this in more detail in the building a biped video. You can go watch that. But of course, this is how you move around your joints and you can get it proportioned to your character. If you wanted to add an arm, your character had a third arm, for example, you can right click, say the left arm or the right arm. We could say duplicate limb, and then it'll ask you, okay, what region is this limb? Because we already have a left and right. Maybe we'll call it, the back one. It'll give you some options. You can always override it. So if you wanted to type out backs, it's also an option. Give it a couple seconds because it has to build the armature, it has to build all the connections, all the components and everything. So give that a couple seconds. And there we go. We got our back left arm. I'll move that up a little bit. We can rotate it out. Cool. Okay. I think we've gone through everything pretty much on this side. There's some convenience functions over here. You can right click things. You want to add a join, insert joints between joints. Build engine IK. This is a good one to show right now. So actually, I'll just press that out just to show what it does. I'll press that in. It takes a couple seconds because it has to build in a bunch of joints and it builds in a bunch of connections. So this is what I was talking about earlier is the IK joints. You can watch it coming in right now. So it builds the IK joints and all those things. And it puts follow joint components on them already. And so it knows, the left foot should follow the left foot and the right hand should follow the right hand. All right, so that's great. Let's go through the rest of these convenience functions. So we have the aimers here. We can set it to, aim our joints if you wanted to make the offsets. When you press build rig, it'll also run that automatically. So you don't have to press that unless you wanted to aim them right now. You can just rebuild all your aimers if you wanted to. You can reset all your aimers. You can show and hide them from here. Some mirror functionalities, the duplicate functionalities, or you can just right click and press duplicate as well. And the symmetry button, which we go over in the building a biped video. But that's basically, you turn that on and now it'll symmetrically move the other side. It may have broken because of that second arm, so I'll fix that. But yeah, you can see it on there. All right, so now we've gone through everything in the authoring mode. So we'll press build rig, bring our rig into animation mode. I'll show you what's up over there. We're just gonna let it build. It only takes a few seconds, so let that happen. What it's gonna do, it's gonna break our armature rig. It's gonna reorient all those joints to the aimers in case you've changed any of those orientations. It'll actually build all the skeleton in. So if you had skinning on your character, it would actually disconnect the skinning temporarily, build in all of the joints so it doesn't break any. In case it did rotate joints for the orientations or the movements, it would actually not break your skinning because it disconnects it first and then it'll reconnect it as a final step. We do not have any geometry in here, so I can't show that, but you can see what's going on. So we now have our rig. We've got our second arm. The IK decided to go on that second arm, so that's funny. That's a bug. I'll fix that before ship. Okay, otherwise, we have our rig here. And you can always go back to edit rig. So that's the beauty of this system as well. It's non-linear. After you've built your rig, maybe you realize, the arm needs to move or it needs to change or something about the rig needs to change. You can always go back. Or even that follow joint. You can actually set that follow joint to the correct arm. Let's do that real quick, actually. It's a perfect example. Excuse me. All right, so we'll give it a couple seconds as it unbuilds. It has to rebuild the armature rig as well. All right, there we go. So now let's grab that hand left and see what it set it to. Yeah, it set it to, forget, hand left. It should be going to hand left. Oh, I moved the wrong one. I see. So it is going to the right one. So actually the back one is now in the front. The front is on the back. So okay, so that's not a bug. That was just, I just moved the wrong one. Okay, well, that's cool. So that did work fine. And there you go. So we're back in edit mode. At this point, you can hide our joints. You can move things around. Like I said, your skinning would be disconnected if there was skinning in the scene. You can move things as you please. You can rebuild, and you'll see to rebuild with those slight adjustments I made on the joints. So that's really nice. Not so much for characters, you don't really need to do that, but sometimes for props or weapons and stuff like that, maybe the pivot's a little bit off. You need to change the pivot, get it exactly in the right spot. You can always go back and make that edit really easily. As you see, we've got our skeleton, we've got our two arms, got our rig. And there you go. That's Fabricator rig authoring framework. Get in the comments if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any requests. Get on the webpage, Fabricator.studio. It's all free. It's ready for you. Have fun.